Well, in our first story, more than 40 mobile phone and accessory retail shops have been gutted by fire at the Kumawu Circle interchange. Now, the Circle incident is one of the two separate fire outbreaks that occurred Sunday afternoon in Ayawaso Central Municipality.
The fire, which attracted hundreds of people to the scene, was reported to have happened around 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon, when most of the shop owners had not reported to work. Others who had opened their shops for business then decided to douse the fire by themselves. With buckets and other items they could lay their hands on, they did their best to extinguish the fire. However, their efforts were not enough to douse the inferno, which had first gutted close to 30 shops. The fire was devastating. Owners of the affected shops lost all their wares to the fire. Those who have gone for loans to restock their shops on Saturday could not console themselves much. Fire service personnel dispatched to the scene arrived late. Those who were helping to douse the fire could not comprehend why the firefighters should report late to the scene, although a fire service station is just about 150 meters away. This resulted in confrontation between the service personnel and the workers of the area.
You see, we understand and appreciate the fact that when issues like this happen, tempers arise. But then people should be mindful that, you see, when our men get to a scene and then you attack them, they'll leave. Because as you're attacking us, you are indirectly telling us that we should go, you can handle the fire, we would leave. So when we get here, people should understand that we didn't set the fire. That's the underlying thing.
Assistant Divisional Officer of the Public Relations Department of the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO2 Alex Kenate, attempted to justify the team's late arrival.
But then our men at Circle were responding to under fire at Kotobabi. As we speak right now, they are still there, responding to that fire involving a bakery and some wooden structures over there. So when they left fighting that fire, then this fire happened behind them. So we had to call on our people from Makola and their ministries and parliaments and even Flagstaff House to come here to solve the issue. So there was a delay because of this thing.
They, however, resorted to do what they know how to do best, to get to the heart of the fire. Water was then a challenge, but some good Samaritans intervened. Congestion of the shops and combustible materials nearly hindered their effort. Laurette Nkansa, a final year student of the University of Ghana, says the gutted shop is her family's only source of income.
We were in the house and then she called us that there's a fire outbreak around our side. So we were thinking by the time we get here, there may be, like, it hasn't gotten to our shop. They will take some of the things. But actually when we got here, everything, like, the fire was already here. There's nothing you could pick. This is a source of livelihood, so everything is gone. I don't know how. And then it's like if we hadn't even restocked, there would have been some money for us to start something. But we just restocked on Saturday, and then this thing happened.
The immediate cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained.
We'll bring you more updates on this developing story. Now, moving on to some politics, and former President John Dramani Mahama says he lost the 2016 elections despite doing his best for the country. Now, the former president was addressing a Thanksgiving service at Ringway Gospel Center, Assemblies of God, following last Saturday's primaries.
In 2016, the worst calamity that any president or government can think about happened. And so sometimes it's difficult to understand his ways and his thoughts. Because in 2016, we thought we had done a fairly good job in terms of uplifting this country. But we lost the election. In 2020, we went again for the election. And again, we lost. And again, we came here after the Supreme Court case, and we gave thanks to God for his mercy and in protecting us. And as I said, his ways, our ways are not his ways. But on hindsight, when I think about it, I believe that we owe him a debt of gratitude that we didn't win in 2020. We would have been given these haircuts and all this IMF wahala. And he said, look, this is not the time, my children. You stand aside. And we know that he will make things well in his own time.
Now let's head to Kumawu constituency in the Ashanti region because the Electoral Commission has rubbished a notice of polls circulating on social media platforms claiming to be related to the upcoming Kumawu by-election. Now the alleged notice has the photos of two independent candidates wearing the kente cloth and said candidates with the symbol of a bird. But the EC, in a statement issued on Sunday, said no such notice has been issued from their office. Still on the Kumawu by-election, and the two major political parties yesterday wrapped up campaigns with grandeur ahead of Tuesday's election. William Evans-Inkum has been chronicling how both parties stepped up campaign on Sunday.
Has now become the epicenter of political activities. On the part of the MPP, all hands on deck is a strategy that they have adopted within the last couple of weeks. Moving from house to house, and today it is the climax time. Mobilize the members, galvanize them to action, and ensure a retention of the Kumawu seat on Tuesday, a seat that they have occupied since 1996. But to Richard Ahinyagba, the massive show of development here has nothing to do with the fact that there is an election.
The idea is, going forward, this is the kind of seriousness you're going to see from the New Patriotic Party. We want to demonstrate to Ghanaians, and beginning from Kumawu, as we've always done, to say that we appreciate the votes that we get from them. They are the ones we serve, and we want to take it seriously. So this effort is to demonstrate to Kumawu that indeed we don't take anything for granted, and we want to earn every vote, and we are working to earn that vote.
Well, on the part of the NDC, they've also been very solid on the ground since the former president, who is now the flag bearer of the party, came in. One would say it has galvanized them to action. Currently, they are moving from house to house, and that is a strategy they have adopted. In the Kumawu constituency, the NDC hasn't shown much when it comes to figures. In fact, in the 2020 election, it was one of their all-time lows.
You are seeing is an indication that the party is prepared and wants to see that everything is done according to the rules of the game. It's part of the boot for boot we are talking about. But the real boot for boot is at the polling station.
But now they hope to appreciate their gains, and it's something that they have started doing. On the part of the independent candidate who gave the MPP a scare in the 2020 election, he is still optimistic that on Tuesday he will annex the state for the very first time.
Our people are well aware that we were neglected and that we are voting independent no matter what.
Well, much hasn't been seen or done by the new entrant, Kwakudua, who shares almost the same symbol, the same dressing, the same name with Kwakudua, who contested as an independent candidate in the 2020 elections. In terms of security, the IGP is also not taking any chances, but he's personally on the ground and commanding his men. William Evans-Inkum, TV3 News, Kumawu.
Joined via Zoom by Northern Bureau Chief William Evans-Inkum to give us more updates on Kumawu election. Now, Evans, thanks for joining us. What more do you have relating to the Kumawu by-election?
Readying for the big day tomorrow is what the political parties are currently looking forward to or preparing. So campaigns were wrapped up yesterday. It was very intense. Akin to boot for boot. And I quite remember I asked Ahinyagba and Joseph Yamin, looking at the kind of campaign they were actually executing in the Kumawu constituency, I asked a very simple question, whether it was that typical example of boot for boot, because they were just crisscrossing, moving from house to house, meeting each other. But one thing, and which of course I see as an advancement of our fledgling democracy, was the level of tolerance. And whenever they meet, they joke, they share jokes and all of that. But that also would not deviate the attention from the fact that they are communicating their political message to the very people in Kumawu. So in the same environment, you hear the MPP saying that we have done, you are seeing evidence of our, appreciation for following us since 1996. The NDC in the same environment, or in the same environment, to also tell that potential voter that, look, it is because Philip Baswa is no more. That is why you are saying this, because right. By elections is in the pipeline. That's why you're saying this. So everything went according to their plan. But the fact of the matter is that tomorrow is the big day, and tomorrow they are going to know their stance.
Right. Now, you have been in the area since the beginning. How do you see the atmosphere, especially from the residents in Kumawu ahead of tomorrow?
Well, so divided in terms of that level of willingness to vote. I quite remember I engaged about 5 people before I left Kumawu last night around 9 p.m. And 2 of them told me that, well, they are not interested. They would want to go and then make a living and all of that, or find something and come and put on the table and all of that. But 3 people were also saying that, well, we will vote because at least it is our democratic right. So sharply divided. Some believe that we shouldn't be expecting some level of high voter turnout in Kumawu tomorrow, despite the fact that the political parties have been very strong on the ground, trying to make the people aware of what is ahead as far as tomorrow's exercise is concerned. But, well, we can only wait and see how the atmosphere tomorrow or after the election will look like.
Right, thank you very much. And that's my colleague William Evans bringing us updates from the Kumawu, where the by-election would be happening tomorrow. Now, we move away from politics into some other stories. And Samuel Akuno's story touched the hearts of Ghanaians after his story aired. It attracted interest from the medical community, both locally and internationally. Portia Gaba reports Samuel has now received an official diagnosis of cervical dystonia. He now needs over $100,000 to undergo surgery to improve his quality of life. We're live on TV3 and on Facebook as well. We are also live on Twitter. You can find us on all our social media handles. We bring you that story shortly.
My name is Samuel Akuno.
On 19th March 2023, TV3 News first broadcast a news item on 24-year-old student Samuel Akuno, who had movement disorders while speaking. After this story aired, GAPSIL, a group of Ghanaian professionals who used to work in Sierra Leone, donated 5,000 cedis to help with his education.
We happened to see Portia's clip on, the very good artist Sam, who's here with us today, and all of us were moved because we felt that a talent like that needs to be helped.
On 3rd April 2023, Samuel was examined by a team of medical professionals at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital.
Cervical dystonia is a disease that is under the movement disorders. Immediately we saw it, we knew that was cervical dystonia. So we invited the patient and we've already examined the patient. Unfortunately, in Ghana, we don't do the kind of surgery that he deserves, which is DBS, deep brain stimulation. Part of the equipment that is needed is part of what the government had supported us to be able to undertake the conjoined twin surgery. So we just need some complementary equipment to be able to finish it up.
Samuel's surgery will not only benefit him, but also Ghanaians with movement disorders.
I have a second patient who also contacted me, a 6-year-old, has been treated as epilepsy, refractory epilepsy, and it happens to be another case of dystonia. After the DBS, that equipment can be used to treat patients with stroke, patients with epilepsy, patients with Parkinson's diseases, patients with tremor, essential tremor, the shake, patients with sleeping disorder, patients with anxiety. It will go beyond.
With a step closer to having his quality of life improved, he, however, has to jump a financial hurdle.
If you look at the summary of the cost, we are looking at anything between $80,000 to $100,000, or maybe up to $150,000, not just for the equipment, but that has to do with the equipment, building a team, the human resource required, and of course, sometimes when you need to bring in somebody who needs to help with the case, all these going together to be able to make sure that you are doing this case competently and safely.
Any investor out there who is willing to put money into this or support, take care of this particular condition, the money that you're going to put in is not going to take care of him. You're going to have people from West Africa, all the sub-region, because it's not done anywhere else.
One of the medical doctors that will collaborate with medical professionals to conduct the deep brain surgery is Dr. Sachin Kandari. He has operated on a patient who had the same condition as Samuel.
We have a lot of team of neurosurgeons in India who can come over there in Ridge Hospital in case the case is very critical, which is not happening to be done here, So we can bring our doctors from India and then we can collaborate with Ridge Hospital and then we can take it ahead.
Samuel is hopeful to raise the money needed to not only improve his quality of life, but also that of other patients with his condition and those with movement disorders in Ghana. Portia Gabo, TV3 News, Accra.
Very inspiring. Now, the National Center for Radiotherapy, Oncology and Nuclear Medicine at the Kumawu Teaching Hospital has recorded steady increase in new breast cases of breast cancer since 2018. Available records show up to over 200 cases or increase in new cases, rising from 425 in 2018 to 661 by the end of December 2022.
Breast cancer accounts for 31.8% of cancer incidents in Ghana. About 70% of women in Ghana are diagnosed with advanced breast cancer. In 2019, Ghana registered over 2,900 total deaths due to breast cancer, up from 2,784 in 2018. The National Center for Radiotherapy, Oncology and Nuclear Medicine at the Kumawu Teaching Hospital has recorded a steady rise in new cases, reaching 244 more new cases between 2018 and 2022.
When you come to National Center for Radiotherapy, Oncology and Nuclear Medicine, as of 2018, actually the new cases of breast cancer that recorded was about 425. In 2019, it increased to 521. That is new cases only. 2020, it was 527. In 2021, it was 607. And then in 2022, we got 661. The cases are actually rising.
The center has partnered the House of Hope Assemblies of God at Old Dansoman to create awareness and offer free breast screening.
We all need to come together to fight this disease called breast cancer that is on the rise. We all need to come together and then be aware. We need to examine ourselves. We need to...
Dr. Juanita Brehua Nkansa admonished women against risk factors.
We need to tackle the modifiable risk factors that can increase our risk. And then even if you have been diagnosed with breast cancer, there are treatment modalities that you can undertake for you to be cured.
The event, which formed part of the 25th anniversary of the Radiotherapy Center, also saw participants volunteering blood for the Kumawu Blood Bank.
We have shifted the pendulum too far. We are only looking at the spiritual aspects, but the psychological aspects, the emotional aspects, that feeding the soul of the people, we've neglected it. So this exercise is so important to us as a church.
Let's head to the University of Ghana now, where its Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nana Bamfo, has urged businesses to sponsor new academic awards at the university. Such programs, according to her, would encourage students' competition and boost academic success.
The Vice-Chancellor's Academic Awards annually highlight and honor graduating students' achievement and distinction. The 2020-2021 event, which saw 134 awards in 5 categories, was the first fiscal event since the COVID-19 epidemic. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nanaba Apiamfo, praised the sponsorship's contribution to the advancement of excellence in higher education. The dedication of 5 awards, the Lebanese Art Prize in Music, the Lebanese Art Prize in Theatre Art, the Lebanese Art Prize in Dance Studies, and the Lebanese Literature Prize Arabic-French options also recognizes the significant contribution the Lebanese community makes to higher education in Ghana. The Lebanese community earlier this year offered scholarships to 12 university law students as part of its yearly scholarship program, now in its 10th year.
Law is the heartbeat of a human life. Without it, will be a lawless society and chaos will rule. But the weight of the law and its integrity remains on the shoulders of professionals. Knowing how challenging this task is, we, the Lebanese community, remain dedicated to offer assistance to make your journey a lot more easier.
Since 2013, the Lebanese community in Ghana has assisted brilliant but needy tertiary students at numerous campuses throughout the country.
Now, on the international front, a defiant Volodymyr Zelensky has insisted Bakhmut is not occupied by Russia after a Moscow-backed mercenary group had claimed control. Now, Wagner founder had earlier claimed victory in Bakhmut. Ukraine's president was speaking during a scene-stealing visit to Hiroshima, Japan, for the G7 summit. He compared Bakhmut to Hiroshima, which was hit by an atomic bomb in World War II, promising a similar reconstruction of his country. At a press conference on the final day of the summit, Zelensky refused to provide precise details but said the city was not occupied by Russia as of today. The two sides have fought over the city since August. Western officials estimate between 20,000 and 30,000 Russian troops have been killed or wounded in Bakhmut, while Ukraine's military has also paid a heavy price. Now, Sudan's army is resisting an attempt by paramilitaries to advance towards its main airbase near the capital, Khartoum, residents have said. Now, the airfield is used by military to carry out airstrikes on the rapid support forces and was also used by foreign governments to evacuate their nationals early in the conflict. Now, the fighting comes despite the announcement of a new 7-day truce. Previous ceasefires have collapsed within minutes of being called. Now, the U.S.-Saudi statement said that the latest truce would come into effect on Monday evening and would be different as it provides for a ceasefire monitoring mechanism.